Happy sort of birthday, Dreamcast. We know you were born in November 98, but that UK launch date was very special to us, and we feel like we want to talk about it and celebrate it because that history, your history, was our history as well. So, come with us as we journey through what was a very personal history. The launch of the Dreamcast into the UK and Europe as well. Happy days for those guys as well. But launch of it into our lives, more importantly. So we thought we'd take a trip through that period of history and a little bit just before it as well, kind of talk about where we were, where SEGA was, how we kind of built up to that point in history, like how it went, how we felt about it, and all that kind of jazz. There'll be some good stuff thrown in there, won't there, Mr. Dibs Ahoy?
Oh, there definitely will. I'm very much looking forward to the episode.
Main thing, I guess, we want to celebrate it. You know, every time this rolls around, it just brings back memories of happy times. So, with that in mind, let's transport ourselves back Wayne's World style. If you haven't seen the film, what I'm doing now is really weird.
I've got to do it. I've got to do it as well. A cha-ching!
That's a nice cha-ching. I like it.
I have to do it. A cha-ching.
Is it the original launch DC? Do we know that?
Well, I picked one up on launch day. Whether or not this is the one, I don't know. It's gone very yellow in its old age. I should do that brightening thing on it.
Just like
I actually had to hand. I was hoping to pass off my Japanese one, but obviously it's got the yellow swirl on it. Yellow orange swirl, so I couldn't get away with it. But it's,
get yourself a blue Sharpie.
It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I know. I've been doing a little bit of clean. Sorry, a bit of a side story. I'm doing a little bit of a tidy up in the house because we're a bit overloaded. I'm about to sell 2 Japanese Dreamcasts, which will leave me with a measly 3 left. Hoarder? I don't know what you're saying. Anyway, one of them's a real Frankenstein. Let's not talk about those Dreamcasts. Let's talk about where we're going. So cast yourself back. Here we are, Wayne's World style, back into not 98, but kind of even coming in from 98, early 98. Where were we at? Where was SEGA at? What was the scene? What was it like at that point in time for us as, let's say, diehard SEGA fans? How were things going? What were we up to?
Well, it was rather bleak on our shores, wasn't it? In the realm of SEGA, because the Saturn had kind of pootled out. We'd had the last few games come out for it, and it was around the middle of '98 that I was like, well, I'm getting my Saturn Switch then. That's the only place I'm going to be getting games from is from the import scene. So yeah, it was pretty sad times. And
we weren't immune to it. Obviously, we were very positive memories of the Saturn period, but we weren't immune to it. That feeling of, I suppose, like slightly impending doom, like partly just a little bit like desolate, a bit like when the lights go on at the end of a nightclub night or whatever, or you're the last one at a party. Is that sort of oh god, it's about to end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just the thing is, I can't be that down because I guess to stress, as we went into that period, I only got my Saturn December 96, and so I was kind of you wind the clock forward, I only had it like a year. Those games were still very, very playable and very fresh, and like all the way through 98 into 99 even, like we were like Alpha 2, Bomberman, they like barely left the TV, and I just don't think, it was a dual thing. Like we could it was a bit distressing that the PlayStation hype had just ramped up and up and up year after year, and obviously like the games coming out by that point for PlayStation were getting like undeniably very good and strong and stuff and whatever, but there was a kind of a sadness that it was clear like Saturn had lost that particular battle and was running out of steam completely and stuff. But we were definitely still playing. I mean, you were importing, like you say, so you were
I was like, well, Sega Europe going to cut me off, so I'll be feeding that machine with the Japanese games. So it worked for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's weird though, like, because I mean, you and Lars obviously like got into the Switch and stuff, and we were reading the same stuff, and no doubt we've been talking about it. I never quite understood like why I never went down that route. I think it maybe literally was just you were a good year and a half ahead of me, so you kind of, I don't know, maybe you just needed needed that bit of momentum from the import stuff, and I was still quite fresh with my old like 3 or 4 games that I was just playing on rotation. I don't know.
I mean the 60 hertz thing, not having that option bothered me. So that was a definite thing. That was a definite thing I was very interested in. That I think probably didn't bother other people as much. But
no,
I definitely
you can't rest.
Games.
You cannot rest until you've like got rid of those borders.
Well, that's the thing, because of like we played the alpha games and like a bunch of those Capcom games so much, the fighting ones, that you know, they were literally like perfect when you flicked them into 60 hertz. So it was like that was a thing that I had to have.
You had to chase it.
The best version, yeah.
As a really quick sidebar, obviously we never had a 3DO. I read today if you have 3DO PAL version had borders top and sides, apparently.
Oh really?
Never had one, can't prove it. Apparently it's the case.
It's a bit like the old 32X Doom sort of thing, with the funny thing around the side so it could run it.
Oh dude, that
which
was
actually
shrunk.
has been. It was, but did you see some dude has like redone
Maxed
it and taken all that stuff? Yeah, it looks really good now. So.
No, see the smile on your face at any removal of borders, and you're literally super happy. I like it. But
I hope you fixed the sound effects though as well. I don't know if that's the case. They used to drive me nuts. Oh, you used to drive me nuts. Pumping that thing through the stereo so loud. It's like, oh my goodness, kill me.
It's the unfortunate confluence of me discovering that you can plug the Mega Drive into the hi-fi and playing Doom at the same time.
Like the legendary bad sound is the one that you picked to pump through there and turn up really loud.
So anyway, like, mate, 32X missteps aside, I guess the point is we were going into 98, like, kind of, yes, we felt the sort of run out of steam from Saturn, but I was still very positive about Sega as a whole. For me, you know, this was still such an amazing machine, the Saturn, and, you know, there was worry. I don't think I was disappointed or angry, as like people often paint the picture, you know. Mostly they say, like, you know, consumers felt let down by Sega and stuff, and I was like, I was not there. I don't think you were there either. You know, we were still like,
I lapped up everything. It's like anything that they put out, I was like all over it. So I was not disappointed. I mean, I loved the Mega CD, and everyone slated that, but it was like I had so much fun with that machine. It's like, what are you banging on about?
So did I, because I got mine for free by playing it at your house. It's a good move. Yeah,
it's a profit deal.
Sneaky. But you know, I guess that's the point, isn't it? Like, often the setting for Dreamcast coming out was Sega had to rebuild trust. Sega had to restore consumer confidence. Sega had to build relationships with third-party devs and like sort of get people back interested in their brand and stuff. And I think we understood a lot of that stuff at the time, and they did talk about the devs had struggled with Saturn and its architecture and stuff. But although we got all of that, like, I never bought into the narrative of like Sega's let us down. Like, it had just produced several years of the best games we'd ever played, and we were still playing them. And it was like,
we're still playing them now.
We're still playing them now.
It's like, that is not a letdown. It's like, that is just a timeless piece of art that they handed to us that spanned generations.
Yes, it is. I thought you were going to say piece of arse then, and I thought that would be a weird thing to say, but you didn't say it. I shouldn't have mentioned it. Let's just move on. So, but exactly that. I reckon it was worry was the main thing that, like, I was feeling about it. It was kind of worry that the PlayStation tide was so strong that it wasn't just about to beat Saturn, it was about to wash Sega away. And that was the thing, like, you know, I sort of, obviously when they made the decision about coming out of consoles later, it was sad, but the main thing I really felt was, I just want to keep getting games like this. You know, the PlayStation had some great games now, I'm not denying it, but it just didn't deliver the Sega-ness, you know, there was no replacing that, so worry.
No, the Sega flavour was what we were craving, wasn't it, I suppose. And
that's a good tagline. They should have used that tagline. Sega flavour, it's what we're craving. Doesn't sound so good when I say it. But it's interesting to note, though. So March 98, well, actually March issue of Sega Saturn magazine, which would have been February, like, release, I guess. Like that's when they first started talking about Dreamcast, and it was just like a. Do you remember it? Like just a simple kind of black like banner thing saying new machine in 1999, which obviously under promise, over deliver. That's Sega's way. But new machine 99, no specs, no details or anything, just like it's coming kind of thing. And I guess that was the shot in the arm we needed at that point. Do you know what I mean? Like just news.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because of I was almost kind of taken by surprise when they actually did show it off for the first time, because of it was like, I don't know, the Saturn didn't feel that old, and I suppose it had only had a 3-year kind of lifespan in the UK.
For us, yeah.
But I suppose in Japan it was like a lot longer, the more traditional 5-6 years sort of thing. But yeah, I suppose the Saturn's performance in the West kind of obviously probably hurried them up a little bit with it as well. So yeah, but no, it was good to see it. Like, I mean, it was the new Sega New Challenge conference, wasn't it? That it was
when the full reveal came out like late that
yeah, because like we heard all the like development names like the Black Belt, the Dural, and the Katana, and all that sort of stuff. But it was definitely I mean, when I first saw it, I didn't even realize it was a Sega machine, because I just remember waking up one morning, and it was in the days when I'd gotten into the routine of checking the internet for my news now, for games. Like, I mean, I still will buy magazines. It was just tradition. It was just fun. But I kind of got up one morning and I just went to the computer, and I can't remember what website I was reading at the time, but it was like, oh, there's some new machine now, because obviously it famously didn't initially have the Sega brand in. I was like, oh, Dreamcast, like, what's this? And it was like, oh, what is this, like something to do with 3DOs, one of the other companies like having a crack at it? And it actually took quite a lot of kind of scanning around the reading for me to actually even find the word Sega in there. It was like, oh, it's the new Sega. It was like, what? But it was
weird.
Yeah, that weird time where they were kind of like, not sure about putting their name on it and stuff like that, and kind of trying to. So
when would that story have been coming out? Like, because that's still, but obviously new challenge and stuff for their actual launch. Some of that had been first.
That was May 21st of May 1998.
This was a story about the New Challenge conference, like, or it was.
Yeah, it was literally the next day after it had happened. It was literally right there, because it's like, we didn't have to wait like months for a magazine to be written and then printed anymore. It was like, it was on dial up, because my dad had his PC, but
so you did have to wait months for it to come up.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah, no, but it was like the next morning, and I was like, oh man, like the new Sega's on its way. And it's like, yeah, and it was like quite a change, because it wasn't like the typical black colorings and all that sort of stuff. And I was looking at the pad, and I saw it had the 4 face buttons. So I was like, because I wasn't down for that, like like the PlayStation and stuff. I like my 6 face buttons for the old Street Fighter action. So I was a little bit
that's like our
dubious.
Bubble. It's like, we're very much Street Fighter's always been a big part of like the games from Mega Drive through to Saturn and onwards and stuff, but. Yeah. For us, it's obvious you'd want 6 buttons. I read something like prepping for this. Apparently, Sega did consumer research that said consumers thought it was too busy, and I was like, "The hell?
I know.
Who are these people?"
Yeah, exactly. Don't listen to those fools.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've scarred gaming for life by like having the Dreamcast only have 6 buttons overall. It's like been a complete nightmare.
I gotta think where they, obviously the N64 controller had lots of buttons on it, and that was a mess. It's maybe like. Yeah. Did they just ask the wrong people? If they'd have asked,
I think
what do you think about the sleek, gorgeous amazingness of the Mega Drive 6-button pad and the Saturn Mark II pad? Obviously, the answer would have been bloody amazing. Perfect amount of buttons on the front.
Exactly.
They obviously asked the wrong people. But, the thing I was thinking, it's quite interesting with all those different names, like Black Belt and Katana and Dural and stuff. we got whiffs of it. I remember like there were dribs and drabs, and like there's always stuff, you know, like in the run up to N64 coming out, it's like Ultra 64, wasn't it? And PlayStation was called something else. They're always called something else.
PSX.
PSX, yeah.
PlayStation, yeah.
PS.
Sure, it had other
dump.
names. Well, it was obviously going to be, It was obviously going to be that new, the Nintendo thing, wasn't it? At one point. Yeah. Like the Nintendo PlayStation, but
weird. But you know,
really weird.
There's always like random stuff floating around. So I guess you learn to take it with a pinch of salt, didn't you? You never knew which of these stories was going to be the one that was actually true. You know, all the Saturn model pictures that we saw and stuff, and then a lot of them didn't look anything like the real thing. But I don't think we knew the sort of depth of that gestation of the Dreamcast like going on, because you know it went back to some extent all the way back to their tie-up with Lockheed Martin, wasn't it? They were like having a stab at making a successor to Saturn and stuff, which wasn't pursued. You know, that wasn't what the Dreamcast was then born from. And then there's like those competing visions like Dural and Black Belt, you know, kind of going on different sides of the pond, like very
Sega America had one idea in mind, and Sega of Japan had they wanted the Japanese chipset, didn't they? Whereas the Sega of America, they wanted 3DFX Voodoo 2 based chipset, and I mean that was the thing that EA were down for. And then when it got changed to the Japanese chipset, the Power VR 2, that's when they decided they were out. I mean, wasn't it?
We all know if there's one golden rule in gaming, always do what EA think is good for the gaming industry.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those guys, you know, they've only got our interests at heart. They're very wise.
Are stand-up dudes.
They are stand-up dudes. And but it was weird though, wasn't it? Because it was actually like a bit before you started getting the stories about that battle between Power VR and 3DFX that Sega bought into 3DFX. You remember like those stories? They bought a chunk of them, didn't they? And of course, look, I didn't know anything about Power VR. Like I knew Voodoo and I knew 3DFX.
Yeah.
You know, that was because you know, your dad had the PC, like he always had the kits.
Yeah.
We sort of started to get to know some of the names of this new tech that was coming out. And Power VR sounded like, why would you dabble in something why don't you go for the stuff everyone's talking about, Sega? You know, that was kind of, I don't know if you felt the same, but at the time I was thinking, oh, go on, Sega, just be sensible, back the big horse, you know, like.
Well, yeah, I definitely felt like 3DFX would have been a confident, giving me confidence, I suppose, in the option.
I think that was what I was thinking too,
Yeah, because it was really popular in the West, wasn't it? It was like, I mean, it was like this big new step forward for the PC, wasn't it? Because it was like, you know, you could see the similarities to some of the N64 graphics, and it just looked like the next step up from what they'd done there. And so you were kind of thinking like, oh, Sega's gonna have some souped up version of that in their new console. It's like gonna be great and stuff, but yeah, they obviously went with the Hitachi and the NEC options instead in that machine.
You know, and I bloody love what they came up with, obviously. But you know, I think at the time they were in with 3DFX quite right up until near the end, wasn't it? And then they just sort of went, actually, we're gonna do the Power VR. Didn't they get sued as well? I didn't really look into it. I just seem to remember they had like some.
Oh, what, for dropping 3DFX?
Yeah, like
I can't.
Something
remember.
about it. Anyway,
yeah, I mean,
I can't. Yeah. I can't remember the detail. But yeah,
what they did pick looked great because it was actually one of the defining big jumps for me in gaming. Like, you know, just going from, I mean, I know it was a huge jump going from 16 to 32-bit when you saw some of those kind of, you know, games like you know, like PlayStation. Obviously, if you put Ridge Racer or something next to what we had on the 16-bit, I mean, that is a huge jump. But like
downwards, you mean? Because Ridge Racer was pretty terrible.
Of course, yeah, I know. That's exactly what I mean.
Joke, of course.
But gotta stick the boot in where you can. But no, it was like just going from the 32-bit generation to this 128-bit or whatever the Dreamcast was. It was just like, oh man, it's like suddenly everything is crisp and clear, the frame rates are good, everything looks amazing, and it was just it was a huge step. It felt like at the time. Did you feel that as well?
Matt, I mean, when I felt it was when, like, truly felt it was actually when we got our hands on that Sonic Adventure trailer, like a fair bit later. Because I was just thinking, like, the truth is, obviously, the pictures that you got of, like, the Tower of Babel demo and the Irisan video and stuff, and even like, well, I was going to say even of Scud Race, but they were publishing pictures of the arcade and just saying, oh, it's going to look like this and stuff. But those pictures, because they were in magazines, they were like reproduced pictures about 100 times into a magazine. Like, they really actually didn't do it justice, because they kind of had a little bit of that smeariness of N64, ironically, but literally just because of the print quality, the picture quality, and they looked amazing. So don't get me wrong, like, I was kind of getting excited and stuff, and man, the way Sega Saturn magazine was like writing about this stuff, they were really, like, you could tell they were excited. They were like really going for it. But it was when we actually got that video of Sonic Adventure and you could see it moving, and then see actually how crisp it was. I think that was the big difference. It was like, man, this thing, like, it just didn't look like it was struggling. Like N64 could produce some good stuff, but it just always looked like it was really creaking, even like on its best made games. But this just looks like so effortless. You know what I mean? It's so crisp and so beautiful. It's like,
well, I mean, like, Sonic Adventure was a particularly, like, felt like a big step, because it was like the thing that really was showing what the Dreamcast was all about. Because we'd had the demos and all that sort of stuff, and actually it was cool, because the Scud Race demo, they did show it behind closed doors, but you can actually, like, download it now or something like that.
You can get it right.
Some guy. So it's interesting, like, and I really wish they'd have shown that off back at the time, because it was like, I know there were screenshots, but like, it was, it really would have been, like, cool to actually see it, but even though it would have given you the false hope that it was coming when it wasn't. But it was the first few games I remember seeing for it, like actual games, was Godzilla, and I remember there was what's it called, Trisalon? I don't know. Whatever it's called, but it was like the promise of, like, this incredible thing, like the Model 3 beating technology, it's going to be incredible, and then it was like, and here's the games, and it was a bit like,
I definitely,
that's interesting.
I'm glad you said that. I definitely felt that way about Godzilla. I was like, one,
Godzilla.
I wasn't really interested in the franchise, but two, I don't know, the shots looked pretty basic. It was like, you see, like, Godzilla stomping around the town or the city or whatever, and the buildings looked way worse than that Tower of Babel demo, and you're kind of thinking, it just gave that bit of an impression. Okay, tech demo versus, like, real life. But but it was then when they did show off Sonic Adventure, then it was like, I mean, like, some of the screenshots on the back of this box here, it's like some of those first shots I saw, and it was suddenly like, okay, now we're cooking with gas. It was, you know what I mean? It was just like, okay, this is what it's really about, and it looks incredible. I think I think the nice thing about that was, during that year, I think we had a bunch of very positive upside surprises. Like the fact they were announcing a machine at all, like when we sort of February, March time, I was like, oh, okay, like, we sort of were beginning to have that worry. And then very quickly, it happened from our side quite quickly. It was like, oh, now there's the new challenge conference, and it's kind of all these details kind of flooded through in the month before and after that, like in Sega Sat magazine and stuff. Suddenly you had all this, like, tech announced, like the game demos, the stuff it could do. And I got to be honest, I don't think any of us expected it to come out as powerful, to come out as punchy. Because obviously, we really believed in Sega, but also we had really seen that, you can argue Mega Drive and SNES backwards and forwards, but they definitely weren't like some kind of absolutely slam SNES to the ground dominant machine. And when Saturn came out, yes, compared to PlayStation, like, I guess you have to sort of concede that it was, like, less powerful or less effective in that market. So you weren't expecting Sega to come out and really slam its hand on the table and go, right, we're taking this. And they so when that new challenge stuff came out, it was like, oh wow, they have really taken a leap. and not just leaked Sega tape. We had not seen anything like that from anyone.
No.
And it was like,
No,
it was so cool that Sega are the ones doing it. And you're like, I didn't know they had it in them. So,
yeah.
But then,
yeah, it was awesome.
I guess you had that again because I think the tech demo stuff was cool, and they were raving about it, and it was, I was definitely starting to get the hype. But then it was when you saw Sonic Adventure, and I was like, oh, I really didn't. I thought that stuff was hype. This actually looks bloody amazing.
Yeah, it looked like the best thing I'd ever seen. It was like I couldn't even begin to believe what I was looking at.
Yeah,
it just looked perfect, and everything about it just looked incredible. Like I studied those screenshots in Saturn magazine. I was practically getting out the old magnifying glass. I suddenly said microphone, but it was like all the textures looked incredible and stuff, and it was just compared to what we were used to. It was everything was so crisp. I remember when we first ever played it, that was one of the things I remember you always said was it just looked so clean.
Yeah, it's
because
so
of,
clean.
The resolution was so much higher and stuff than what we've been used to.
It was those things. The thing is, in some of the tech demos, and then obviously in Sonic Adventure, they knew some of the jibes they'd had. They had loads of transparencies. That it was. I think it was in the American tech demos. You remember there was a duck in a pond, and there was water flowing and stuff. It was
yeah.
I don't think it was a new challenge. I think it was later, and it was look at those transparencies. Huh?
Yeah.
No
they definitely
mesh effects there, you punks.
Exactly. They definitely wanted to address that particular thing, didn't they? And that is kind of what the Dreamcast was. It was a kind of answer to so many criticisms, all the way down to the ease at which you could make games with it and stuff. One of the big things leveled at the Saturn was it was tough to develop for, so they tried to make it as easy as they could, and they even had the Windows CE operating system baked into it, didn't they? So
because they had
to use it.
They didn't have a message from Bill Gates at the New Challenge conference or something. They really cemented that relationship, I think, to say this is good. It talks the language of PC developers. It talks your language, literally with the OpenGL or whatever the software stuff was. And so they really went for that. I've always thought that is such a shame for Saturn, because Mega Drive's big advantage was it had that 68,000 and it was so easy to program for. Devs really slated the SNES and said this is a lot harder to get something out of. And the Mega Drive just was so compatible with loads of other stuff. It got such praise, and you were like, that was your advantage, Sega. Why did you not do it for Saturn? But they got it for Dreamcast, and it was they really understood this needs to be off-the-shelf kit. It needs to be common. Get them the bloody dev kits out as well. Make sure they... So that, I guess, all of that was the year. So you had this announcement sort of February, March time in Sega Saturn magazine. It was coming. By May, you had the new challenge conference, and you had the real glitz and glamour, big bang stuff, this conference, 1,000 people, huge stars there, a lot of Japanese TV personalities that we didn't really know, but you had Yuji Naka was there, Yu Suzuki was there, obviously Ian Majiri was there, and who was Kojima? Kojima was there. Kojima was there. Yeah, I thought you were going to say Sagata Sanshiro, who was also there. He was there as well.
I'm going to mention him. Yeah, no, but I don't know what happened to the Hideo Kojima thing, because it's where's the games, mate? Come on.
Maybe he's just there nicking ideas, trying to put it.
Yeah,
trying
heard
to
there's a
ferret
free
around.
buffet or something. Stocked up on a few drinkies.
Yeah. I remember actually very proud of the Sega Saturn magazine guys, because they were they essentially had a choice between playing the system or getting the buffet. And I remember them writing something by the time we'd finished having our go, there was no food left. Yes, priorities.
Exactly. There you go. But, take note, Kojima.
Take note, Kojima, you prawn sandwich snaffling pug. So, but then, then it came thick and fast. And this is the thing, remember, like, we felt like Saturn running out of steam. We were beginning to get a little bit worried, a bit despondent and stuff. And admittedly, Sega Saturn magazine was struggling to fill its pages a bit. It was arcades and Dreamcast news, really, from this point. But, so May, and then going to July, there was, like, more, like, I suppose it would have been June calendar, so July issue, so all the new challenge detail starts to really pour through, so that obviously the name's there, the release date in November's there, stuff about the VMU, like called the VMS at that point, controllers,
one to hand,
you're so prepared.
I did get prepared. I got a whole bunch of stuff out my cupboard right here.
I'm literally sitting here with like a pile of Dreamcasts under this desk. If I try and get them out, I'll make so much noise that I'll probably wake the house up to do that. And then August, September, October, what you've got is a bit of a weird time for the UK, because you've got loads of details of the demos. Like the August issue had like Yu Suzuki and Yuji Naka in there, like talking it up and like really going on. This was like some of the famous stuff from Yu Suzuki going, it's be better than Model 3, like it's going to be awesome and all this stuff. We're like, arguable. And you did have Radiant Silvergun, I think, was reviewed in like one of those really late issues, but basically the Saturn was completely like run out of steam, and then obviously Sega Saturn magazine completely ran out of steam, and like, what was it, I think November would have been their last issue and stuff. So
was it? Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely like, I don't know, it kind of felt like their intention was just to keep it ticking over, try and stretch it out to the Dreamcast, and then like obviously rebrand with the Dreamcast kind of thing. So it was like when that final issue kind of came out, because that in the West, Sega Saturn magazine was literally the only Sega presence left anywhere in the UK, really, wasn't it? Like there was no Saturn games coming out anymore. All the other Saturn magazines had given up, and it was like Sega Saturn magazine was the one still going, and it was like, oh, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? And then that issue came out. It's like, no, we ain't gonna make it.
And it was just like emblematic, wasn't it? Obviously, it's emblematic of Sega's position because it was the torchbearer. It had the branding and stuff. It was also the thread, really, from Mean Machines to Mean Machines Sega magazine crossover, and then Sega Saturn magazine sort of survived. And you're just like, so when that went, that whole heritage of ours, like I know CVG was still over there, but that wasn't the same by that point anyway. You know? So loads of stuff was kind of like petering out. But in Japan at least, the Dreamcast was happening. And like, so by November, like you kind of got like it's happening. That then was a really weird period though, because you were getting import games. I was still quite happy playing my Saturn, but that is the bit where I think you did a vid on it recently. That's the bit where finally a PlayStation found its way into our respective like bedrooms and living rooms and stuff. We were like, that like mid '98 going into '99. I was like I think you'd had one a bit longer. You're like Final Fantasy crept in not long after launch.
I got it when I think Final Fantasy 7 came out, and then like maybe I got a PlayStation like a week later or something like that, and it was just the ease of kind of getting games in the high street compared to like it's like ordering stuff off of the back of magazines or something, or like the only other option we had was up at Lakeside. They had a shop in there that had like import games that I used to go and get Saturn stuff from, I think it was. But it was just and also Final Fantasy 7 did look really good.
I mean, it was Final Fantasy 7, as we said, that was like I don't know when Scrooge got his one, because I remember playing Destruction Derby and stuff on like his PlayStation. I guess that must have been earlier, but it kind of, as we went into '99, like I guess I was playing PlayStation and mixing it in with the Saturn and stuff. Obviously, like
I was definitely like, there was definitely a hierarchy for me. Sega was still at the top. I don't care about like what PlayStation was doing. It's like, it was there for a nice entertainment product for me. But like, I was like getting my Saturn modded and getting these games imported and the 60 hertz switch and all that stuff. They were still at the top of the pile. So
and that,
it was alive and well in my house.
It sustained us, I guess, isn't it? So, but you did get import Japanese Dreamcast, not immediately. What was it, like spring, like 99, I guess, somewhere around then?
Yeah, it was definitely at the beginning. I think it was the beginning of the summer. Yeah. So I basically, what had happened was in Sega Saturn magazine, I think there was every month there was the import sections, like I say, at the back of the magazine, and every month I noticed the price was like creeping down and down and down for the Dreamcast, and I kind of knew in my head, like, I can't remember if they kind of speculated or whatever, but they kind of said when a Dreamcast comes out in the UK it's going to be about 200 quid, and the price of the import ones was getting really close to 200 quid, and we were months before the Power one was going to come out, and I was like, well, I could just keep waiting, or I could just get one right now. So I did, and it was like, when I say right now, I remember it was a bit of a, whenever you ordered or dealt with these companies in the back of those magazines, it's like I did a video before about getting our Saturn Switch and all the messing around, and it was a similar thing. Like, it was due probably a week before I actually received it, and I was getting to the point where I was like getting really cross on the phone with them, ringing them up, and like being like, where is this machine? Stuff like that, because don't mess with me when it comes to my games. that's the thing. That is the red rag to a bull.
It is a common thread. We found it a few times, like, where the only thing that really gets like red palm, like, it's the red rage is when you get this like games being taken away from under your nose. What did the guy at Electronics Boutique do? Was it Fighting Vipers that he wouldn't give you? And it was like,
oh, he wouldn't give me my Christmas nights.
Oh yeah, don't mess with me. And
it was like, mate, right, things are gonna get serious. But I got it. I did get it off of him. So.
I guess the thing is, for that year though, like, obviously, like, we got some Dreamcast gaming in that summer, and so like I guess that was sustaining us. But I think really practically speaking, like, I was doing A levels, like I kind of went into like really busy time with like the end of school and stuff and preparing to go. I was skint, like, I know you managed to pick up Dreamcast, and well priced, as it was and stuff. It was just about affordable, but I guess I don't think I really had any illusions that I could buy into the next generation at that point. So I was kind of quite happy. I was like picking up the odd cheap Saturn game. They were still like floating around. I remember like Bomberman cost me 15 quid. That was a damn steal.
That was a bargain.
Yeah. And a couple of others that I've got around that time. And like, it was enough to kind of keep it ticking over. But yeah. So when we eventually got there, and we were like coming into the period where we're finally getting our lodge. Like, do you remember it? Do you remember like being the build up? Did it feel hype to you?
Oh man, there was a heck of a build up for me. It was like, so outside of the magazines and all that kind of stuff, and also I think that's when you were downloading the trailers as well for the games. Did you remember at the end of the Sonic Adventure videos, it always said Dreamcast and did that little swirly thing, and it was like, I kept on saying, I said that so many times. Like,
yeah, you did.
It was it was so. One of my defining memories, it was me and Latas went to Lakeside Shopping Centre, and they had whatever it was the shop was at the time. I don't know, it was the Electronics Boutique or Game City, whatever it was. I can't even remember at this
probably
period.
Electronics Boutique, wasn't it? But
it probably still was, yeah. But like, basically, we walked into the store, and there in the middle, displayed like the crown jewels in this kind of like case, like glass case, was a Dreamcast.
And when was this? This was like earlier, wasn't it?
This was way at the beginning of 99, it would have been. Cheeky. Like kind of maybe February, March kind of time or something like that. And it was like, Sega obviously just starting to get the ball rolling with it. And like me and Lars just walked in, and there it was. And we were totally like not expecting it. and it was just like, oh, it's an actual Dreamcast. And we went up to the case, the display case, and we was just like, I can't believe it. It's right here in front of us. And Lars, he just got a bit carried away. He wrapped his arms around the glass case and was like hugging it. And I was like, I mean, it seemed crazy, I suppose, but I could totally understand because we were so excited about this machine. But this guy who worked in the shop, he kind of like came marching over to us, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get kicked out of kicked out of the shopping centre here or something from accosting the Dreamcast display."
Dreamcast perv.
But instead, he kind of just sidled up beside us, and he was like, "Do you want to hold it?" And I was just like, Wait, please be talking about the Dreamcast.
What's the price you got to pay to touch this thing?
Yeah. But he was like, I think I suddenly, I kind of just clocked, like, this dude's on the same page as us. Yeah. He kind of understood, like, this moment we was having, and he got the key, and he opened the case, and I remember he just passed it to me. Here it is. I'll use this as in a recreation.
Nice.
And I just remember, like, he handed it to me, and it felt light. I thought it didn't have much inside of it, so it probably didn't have any chips or anything. It was probably more just a case. But I remember just like looking at it. I hit the button and opened the lid, and it was like, oh my goodness, I'm literally holding a Dreamcast. And I passed it to Lartons, and we were like just checking it all over and stuff. It was pretty funny because I just remember at the corner of my eye, I just clocked this couple, like this bloke and this girl, and like the bloke was kind of just smiling, watching us, but the girl had this like bemused look on her face, like, and she was just like, "It's only a game console." It's like, oh, it is more than that, my dear, believe me. But yeah, it was just like one of those defining memories and stuff. And it was funny, actually, like I remember actually like later, like in the year, like maybe a few weeks later, coming back to the shopping centre Lakeside, and we was with our old friend Katie, who I believe you went out with.
Maybe.
And I was telling her all about the Dreamcast, because obviously girls really want to know about all this stuff.
I bet she loved it.
Oh, she did, but I kept on saying Dreamcast over and over. And she said it was when it came out, like every time she saw Dreamcast, she would just think of me saying that, and it must be very annoying. But I literally like took her to the shop to show her the display of the Dreamcast because that's how excited I was about it. But
All it says, you know how to treat a lady. That's, I mean.
Oh sure, yeah.
I hope she respected like that you showed her a good time, because that's nice. But that's like that's early, that was early. Like I guess I don't remember seeing much, but I think I had my head down quite a lot. And a big thing was just I no longer was regularly getting any magazines, so I just wasn't picking up on a lot of stuff. Obviously I got it. Yeah. We were talking about it a lot, and we were still like excited for it. There's no denying it, but I don't remember like much build up into it, like publicity wise and stuff. And I certainly don't, like the stuff they were doing in the States. So like they had the big, like the cars, like trucks or whatever they were, like going around, taking it to shopping malls, getting people to have a go.
Budget.
Yeah.
I think.
And they did a lot of, I guess they did a lot of like PlayStation style things. They went out. I think their mantra was, for people to, but like the advocates for it and go for it, they need to play it. And like, so they were very active taking out. I guess I don't remember us doing any of that stuff over here. Although you did get it in Electronics Boutique in Lakeside, and even had an offer to hold it. Filthy as that was. Yeah. So when
I kind of felt like Sega were kind of stockpiling their remaining money though, because I think I read something like, and I might be wrong, like the budget for Europe and all their advertising was like 50 million, and obviously I think they spent like 12 million on the Arsenal deal to have it on although I think it got paid off in like installments, like for the like 4 million a year over the 4 years or something like that. So I don't know if that came directly out of that chunk, but it was it was the advert. It's funny what you're saying about people getting hands on and seeing the things, because the adverts that we got in the UK I was very surprised about, because for all the amazing graphics and capabilities of the Dreamcast, they didn't put any footage of the games in the adverts, which I literally couldn't believe. But I think you felt a bit different, didn't you? About
I don't know, because I get it. Like, this is like a big like classic thing. So wind it back a little bit, because through Saturn era, like I think we were both very disappointed with the Saturn marketing. Like, we could see that PlayStation had nailed it in their whole, not just their TV ads and stuff, but their whole campaign. You know,
it was like getting it into nightclubs and all of that. It was like the cool. They took Sega's cool.
They took Sega's and ran with it.
They kind of ramped it up to 11.
And we were like, we talked about it so much, because obviously we'd seen it happen. Like Mega Drive advertising their sort of guerrilla tactics and their really like slick approach, their TV ads, they were part of our culture. Like, even if we'd never played the games, we still loved the ads for themselves. And Saturn, we were like, I remember so annoyed at like how they just seemed to have completely lost it, and like just didn't seem to be able to like land a single punch of it. And so like when it came to Dreamcast, I was kind of thinking, oh man, I was worried again. Like, I don't know whether they're going to recover it and stuff. And I know a lot of people have the same view as you, which is, wow, where the hell is the game footage? You know, you think of Cyber Razor Cut, and they could do both. You know, they had like a cool, like weird eye-catching idea, but there was loads of games in there as well and stuff. But I didn't like the kids on the beach one, but I did. Oh yeah. But I did think that the Barber one, it worked for me. That was a very slick ad. It was very high production values. It looked very cool. I think I saw it in the cinema the first time, and it was like,
yeah, I did. Yeah,
you know, that dude like with his sultry look. It was very well made. It definitely caught the attention like of non-gamer people, and it did have like quite a good concept of at the end. You know, it's like, let's play together online, 6 billion players and all that stuff. And I just thought, okay, that's a good angle, and it's caught my eye. I don't love it, but I didn't hate it either. So, you know. Really?
I thought it sucked. It's like, you've literally got the best graphics ever, and you're showing me a guy cutting someone's hair. Yeah. It's like, who cares? Like, no, but like literally put some footage in at the end or something like that. It's like, literally show these people the game.
I get it.
Like, gaming was big enough, like that people knew they knew the PlayStation. Like, there was millions and millions and millions. This is such a big step above it. Show people it. And it's like, no. Some guy cutting the hair, or the other one was some kids throwing stones at a boy or something, or swimming out. I can't even remember. Yeah. The only thing I remember was disappointment and Robbie Williams every time I hear those songs on the radio, feeling enraged. It's like, my goodness, it's like you got an open goal and you managed to miss. It's like, come on, Sega.
Thing is though, it's so hard, isn't it? Because you see what PlayStation had done at the same time. You know, they had got in such a strong position, they could pretty much do whatever the hell they wanted. You know, the alien girl, like with the sort of just randomly talking to the screen. It's like, that was incredibly memorable. But they didn't need to show the games because everyone knew the games and stuff. And I did always think, the problem is, Sega, you're trying to mimic that kind of cool and lifestyle and not put the games in.
Yeah.
And you're not coming from the same position. So I did kind of get that. But I would say this, I thought it was a good advert. Like, whether it was like to exclude the games and not have other stuff like that would complement it, I don't know, that's a challenge. But it was slick, you know, you watch it back and it sort of still looks like a very high-end advert. You know,
it's just very unmemorable though. It was like, I mean, who would actually remember that? It's like, no one. It's like, you remember Cyber Razor Cut and stuff like that, like a regular person might. They may even remember, if they're that old, like the do me a favor, plug me into the Sega. Like, who's going to remember that Dreamcast advert? No one.
Well, it's sad for them, because, you know, I'm sure this is true. You know, the ad firm that came up with that campaign for the barber and the kids and the 6 billion players stuff, apparently is the same one that did the To Be This Good Takes Ages Sega thing, which is arguably the most memorable of like all Sega things. You think, where was that? You know, why couldn't you get
They
something
must
like
have
that?
had one heck of a turnover of staff or something, because whoever was in those days.
The thing was,
anyway, that's just the thing that really upset me. Imagine showing in the cinema on a screen that big Sonic Adventure.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? That it would have wowed everyone. It would have blown them away. And it's like, nope, dude cutting hair. Anyway,
there's
really
one thing
me.
which, you know, bearing in mind, obviously very pro Dreamcast and stuff, but there's one thing that just, I don't know, would have always worried me. Dreamcast was our style of gaming and our style of graphics, and you know, we love its like high gloss and really bright vibrancy and stuff, and on some games that would have worked for anyone, but you know, PlayStation with Metal Gear and Resident Evil and Final Fantasy and stuff, the mood was quite 90s grim, you know what I mean? And so would it have landed, like if you'd have showed it, would it have looked too, you know, like Nintendo-y, you know, like the way
I say, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I would have just been blown away because of the, like what we're saying, the leak was huge, and that's the thing. I just really think they needed to show it.
I think for anyone who at that point who thought of themselves as a gamer, that's what you needed to show. For anyone who was just picking up, like, because they were, you know, a 20-something adult that just wanted something to do in their leisure time, I don't know. It's hard to judge. I think the truth is, what we can tell from the history, they didn't quite get it right again, and like, you know, it just didn't quite land for whatever reason and stuff. And maybe it's because they didn't show any games, you know.
It felt like a waste, because like we're saying, the resolution was so good, you know, it would have looked great on those screens, you know. Anyway,
it's
I'm
true.
not going to rant any further about it. It's an old wound being opened here.
But I think when it eventually was like our time, and we finally got to our launch date, I definitely still had the hype of launch, and like it had been out for a while over there and stuff, but I guess we still hadn't aligned the territories and stuff. It was still quite like acceptable or expected that like Japan and us would be like out of kilter and stuff, so it still felt like a really big deal that we were getting it. It wasn't like it was a year-old tech. Gap. It was brand new to still to up, like not too much but, you know, it still felt fresh, like do you know what I mean, like it hadn't aged in our heads, I guess. So not that I got it straight away, I still had to wait a little while to get it, like after launch. So wait, actually, so you did get your PAL one launch day, right? I think it's like what I was saying about the PlayStation thing, like the ease of just being able to walk into any high street shop and get it. So even though I got my Japanese one, and there wasn't really ways around the region locking like at PAL launch or anything like that, so it's like if I wanted to just be able to go into a shop and pick up a selection of games like really easily, I would need the PAL machine as well, I guess, to start with. And so like, and also I wasn't going to miss like a Sega launch day without getting the console. It definitely felt like a little different though, because of like the Saturn was, you know, that was it. It was like all the eggs were in that basket, that July the 8th, like, you know, the counting down to it and stuff. Whereas this was, for me, it was more diluted because I'd already got that Japanese machine way earlier. So it was like I wanted to be part of the party, but at the same time I was looking at the time and thinking, what time shall I go home and stuff like that. It's a little bit of a different vibe, but I gotta say something on different vibes, because you know, this is our Sega and Dreamcast history mixed in with our personal one, and there's a really key moment that happens right there, like in October, like of that year, because that Saturn launch day, you and me, we went into town, like you obviously got it, but we went and got it together, like went home and played and stuff. That October, that was almost to the day, certainly to the week, that was when I went away. That's when I went to university, and so a few things happened. I was skint. So for a long time, I don't think I bought a single game. I think I bought Final Fantasy VIII in that 12-month period of like the first year of university. I just was skint. I didn't have any money to buy anything. I definitely couldn't have got a Dreamcast, and like not straight away anyway. And like, and obviously then I wasn't there join in with you and Lance, like doing that era.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I remember
it was very much certain games we were getting into and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was
we'd had all that build up and all that, like downloading the Sonic Adventure, doing the daisy chain across floppy disks, because even that. Yeah. It was something like, I think it was like 14 megabytes the video or something, but so you needed like 10 discs to like put it on. Anyway, all that build up, all that hype and stuff, and then like all these years I'd relied on being able to catch a game of something like by going around your place, and like suddenly like no one had one. No one had one at university. Some dude had a PlayStation. I didn't even take a console with me that first term. Like,
what did you do with your life?
I know. I think, well, I had a PC, so I was like starting to do. I was like playing Quake and
PC Master Race back in the 90s. Yeah. Well, man. It was good because of like, even though like you weren't there particularly for the power launch, like I did when I got my Japanese one. I remember it was a Saturday, I think it was, that it turned up, and I took it like straight to your house. And I know you don't particularly remember this day. You totally don't. But like I remember, like we set it up in your living room, and your sister was kind of there, and we were kind of like in awe, like looking at the controller and all this sort of stuff. And I think I recounted this before, but like I remember we were kind of examining the pad and the VMU or something, and we were going, "This is so cool. This is really cool." As having you. Because
I do remember the like literally just turning it around in our hands bit. Like I remember,
But no, your sister kind of chimed in like in agreement, like that is cool. Whatever it is. she had no idea.
Sucky cow.
She wanted to be part of the memory, so.
Yeah, they never got into games, my sisters. I don't know why. So it's sad times for them anyway. But
I think we probably put them off with our antics there.
I do remember, like, obviously one of the main things that happened, my room in that house being in the attic, and we thought we were sort of cut off from the house. And obviously my parents would be wandering around on the floor underneath, like hearing everything we said. So they were very aware of the volume of swearing that we used to do.
I know.
Yeah.
I do remember your mum inquiring what Hadouken meant. She was like, what's that machine keeps saying? And I was like, oh, it's like Japanese for fireball. She's like, oh, really? Like,
apparently it's saying meatballs, I'm going to have some, or something like that. Exactly. You'll have to watch our Street to Rage episode to know what the hell that was about. Anyway, but you know, I think that's a big part of the Dreamcast history for me, was like our power launch, like it landed just at the point where almost I kind of lost touch with gaming for quite a while. You know, it's like, it's a real kind of weird thing. And I remember coming back, I don't know like what term it would have been, but I remember coming back and you guys have been nailing Crazy Taxi. Like you were very, very good at it. And I remember playing it for the first time, whenever it was, I can't remember. And like, just thinking, oh man, this is like really hard. I can't get this to like be really sucking at it. And you guys were so good at it. And I thought, oh man, this is quite a moment. It's like we've really kind of had to go like that a little bit, because I just not sort of keeping up with things, you know. So
it was a change, actually. Now you mention it, yeah. Because I just remember me and Latins. Yeah, we did. It was mainly us playing a lot, and I remember, like, you know, taking it around to his house, or no, I think he got an import one as well, actually. And I remember we would kind of like watch Buffy and Angel and all that sort of stuff, and then like once that show had finished, then we'd be back on the Dreamcast playing Crazy Taxi and things. It was like good times.
Yeah, that's a damn good combo, actually. I mean, if you could recreate that kind of magic now, you'd be all over it. I guess one thing we've got to say though is like yes, we had to wait. It meant we had, I mean, you had a machine obviously for a big chunk of that year, but it did mean that when like we got our launch, I thought we had a pretty damn good launch lineup. You know, it wasn't like a massive long list of games, but it was a decent number, obviously, like compared to like some. I guess, you know, when you got the Saturn, you know, it's pretty slim pickings, to be honest, but like decent number, and there's some damn good titles in there as well. Can you remember what you got, like straight up? And, like,
oh well, so like, I mean, like on my Japanese one, I'd only really had Sonic Adventure and something like that, and I think Latins had gotten Sega Rally 2 and Blue Stinger, And so we kind of played a bunch of that stuff. So on launch day, I got the PAL version of Sonic Adventure, which is this copy right here, actually.
Nice.
That's the very one. So I had to have that because of I wanted the story basically in English, so I knew what was going on. I got Virtua Fighter 3 because of obviously that's a classic one. I actually have my Japanese copy here, and it's very clearly says import title on the front.
In case you didn't know. Yeah.
Yes, but I did get the PAL version as well, which I was very disappointed actually to see that it had borders, when you're playing it on a regular CRT. Although we have recently discovered through a VGA cable, it defaults to
still learning,
60 hertz,
still learning stuff about it.
Plenty of stuff about it. But also the other game I got was because I wanted to try something a little bit off to the side of my usual pickings, like the traditional Sega arcade stuff. So I went for Trick Style, which was, why not? Yeah, I mean it was a game. it was definitely weird, but
it was different. It was different
with it.
I don't hate it. The weird thing about Trick Style is over the years, you pick up bundles on eBay and stuff, and various. I think at one point I owned 7 copies of Trick Style because
that's a lot of Trick Style.
I did not want to own that many copies of Trick Style. It's just but it's the one, it's like I don't know, it's like a FIFA or something. Like everyone just is trying to get rid of them. It's like I just always seem to end up with it.
Yeah, because it was like it was alright. It was. I don't know.
It's worth trying.
I'd be interested. I'd be interested to revisit it. I mean, out of all the games that I could have got, I probably shouldn't have gone for that one. I should have definitely gone for Power Stone, which I have right here. Well, that's not a day one, but I should have got it.
I was gonna say, this is the weird thing about it. I remember pretty much all those titles being around. I have no memory of Power Stone being around at that time. I don't remember us talking about it. I don't remember us I certainly didn't play it straight off. I actually got to Power Stone way later. It's a bit of a sort of nice discovery to find that such a gem had been sort of waiting for me and stuff. But yeah, it's funny. I don't know how it kind of escaped my attention. I was just very focused on a few, and obviously one which you and I tried to ignore, but which Slartons was obsessed with, that Pen Trials. He was so on it for that game. It's just obsessed.
Just something about it appealed to him, didn't it? And it was just he just kept banging on about it. And it's like, what the heck? What's up with this dude?
It's got freaking mental problems, but it's all right. But it's just an odd one. That to me, I think we always felt that's got that really smacked of a classic. We need some numbers. Can you just churn some other stuff out to chuck out with But I mean that's a damn good lineup though. Sonic Adventure's obviously crazy good. I'm not a massive fan of Sega Rally 2, and obviously it has its problems and everything, but it's still as a game it looked decent and it was cool to have out. Virtua Fighter 3, I know it gets some knocks as well, but I still thought it looked classy and played well.
I think.
Yeah, I think it was I still think it's really good.
It wasn't a million miles. I mean, at the time, it was to be able to mimic a Model 3 game that closely.
Yeah.
It was why is everyone going in so hard on this game? It's it's really good.
And you got to think as well, I was, from what we were going to, you still remembering that leap. I still was looking at Virtua Fighter thinking, that was bloody good. I wasn't thinking it doesn't look as good as the arcade. I was thinking, that looks bloody good.
Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't tell, to look at it, that it wasn't as good as the arcade. It's if you watch YouTube videos now, you can see the textures are a little bit more blurry on the Dreamcast one. But at the time, it was Model 3. You know what I mean? It's in the 90s, in your home. It was the promise, of the Saturn was Model 2 in your home and stuff like that. And it was it never quite got to that standard, I suppose. But Dreamcast was so close that it was almost indistinguishable to my casual eye, I suppose. it does take.
And you say you've got a casual eye. We talked about it before. I remember coming home with the Saturn, and we we were both like mega hyped, and we both loved Daytona, but I still remember you going on about the bloody borders and the bloody frame rate, and it was
it was the pop-up.
Obviously now,
that upset me
now, I kind of like, we can all look back at it and we know.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a good game though. It was like,
but you do have a critical eye, and anyway.
I forgive a lot with Daytona, I suppose.
Don't forgive adverts with no game footage in them. That's one thing that's completely out.
I will not.
I think there's a point to make about that launch lineup though. For me, it was just another nice surprise. That's for me the thread that runs through from that first like commentary on what the Dreamcast was coming out. Nice surprise. Here's the power that it's going to have. Well, that's a nice surprise. Here's the actual games. Oh my god, they actually do look as good as we were like hoping for. That's a nice surprise. It comes out over here and it's like got an actual good like lineup of games that you can just go out and buy straight away. It's like, I don't know, like I know how it fared later on when the PlayStation 2 came out and stuff, and I'm very glad to see that these days it gets so much more respect than it did back then and stuff. But I think the thing was, at that point, we talked about having worry. At that point, I had so much hope. It just felt so good, and it looked so promising, and the games were so good. It's like,
well, I mean, it broke records, didn't it? When it first launched and stuff, it was like the biggest entertainment launch.
That
in
American
history
launch was like
stuff.
A massive deal and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the wind was in its sails.
Yeah, and like I felt massive hope for it. And I'll mention one other thing, because I know that the sponsorship gets real knocked as well, like sponsoring Arsenal and what was it, some Italian team as well, was it? I can't remember.
I don't know.
And it was big money, and you look back at it and say, was that a good division of the money they had to throw at advertising and stuff? And I don't know, probably not. But I can't help but feel, I was like, man, there it is on the front of the Arsenal shirt. Like, this is cool, man. Like,
and the second shirt that just said Sega right there and stuff, and it was like, it's like when like clips come up of like, Henry and stuff scoring like really good goals and all that stuff, and it's like, there's Dreamcast written right across his front. It's like, I still think like, no, that is cool. Because
historically, you said this to me when we were talking about this like a little while ago. Wasn't that great timing? That season for Arsenal, that squad, like those players, like that was amazing. You see so much footage of it, and it feels like it was sort of tied up with it. Legendary stuff. I just thought, I just kind of was quite proud it was on there. It was really front and center. It was a really bold move. You can question it all day long whether it was the right use of the money, but as a sort of, looking back as a kind of doing this like punditry stuff, you can criticize it. But back then, as a consumer and as a teenager and as a gamer, I was like, yes, Sega, come on, I was really happy to see it. So
because it was like literally back in those days, it was like the two big teams was Arsenal and Man United. It's not like nowadays. It's like it's a lot different, isn't it? It's like, and Sega had one of those two big teams, and it was like, what I mean? It just felt like, that's really cool.
It was a bold roll of the dice, the whole thing. Dreamcast was a last roll of the dice console wise, and the big budgets they threw at it, more in American stuff, massive like roll of the dice. Going for something like that Arsenal sponsorship was a big roll of the dice, and I don't know, I was 18 and I had all the knocks of sort of like trying to defend Saturn and stuff, and then it just, in that moment, in that period, it just felt like the wind was in their sails, and I just was like, full of it. Plus, they had that really good advert with the barber cutting the hair and stuff, and that was so good.
I do love a haircut.
Freaking journey, Well, I think that's us. It's like it's always been a really personal thing with us. Like it's a big part of our friendship and our childhood and our growing up and stuff. And that year, that was a big part of it. It's like wrapped up with what we were doing at the time and how we felt about gaming and Sega and stuff.
It was like, and it was moving things forward. It was like, you know, not just the VMS/VMU. It was like, you know, and what was pleasing to me, the 60 hertz option on title screen of many games. It was like, yes, Sega, lead the charge for that. PlayStation 2 could have taken some influence for that, because like, with their boarded games, like loads of them were boarded. And it also had the modem.
Yeah. How have we not talked about the modem? That's the one thing. I was going to say, when we talk about advertising, that's the one thing I always felt, ironically, considering they pushed it right at the start, but they should have pushed that so much harder. You know, I did have a PC, but like so many people were struggling to get online, and you could get online, and it was like, it was huge.
You didn't even check your email with it. I remember our friend Laurie looking for pictures of Carmen Electra on it on the browser.
Man. Good man. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
She was great back in the 90s. So.
I must admit, you know, I had a PC, so I could sort of browse. I do remember going on the Dreamcast browser like the first time, thinking it's quite slow. You know, it's like,
but it was the novelty of it.
It was the novelty,
like, It was like I was browsing the internet on my TV in my room, and it was like, you know, I don't need to venture out of my room anymore.
I don't want to know what you got up to. I don't know. Yeah, I know, but just brave territory, and like it was a little while till I got mine, but they definitely revived our love for them as a brand, Sega, and like, man, what a machine. The hype was real. Loved it.
And it brought such a legend. That's Crazy Taxi.
What a beaut.
Amazing. Still the best version as well. And that's what I will say, the Dreamcast pad works brilliantly for that game.
It's a weird thing, because, you know, like, I'm not a fan of that Dreamcast pad at all. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know, it's like it winds me up in a lot of different ways, but it is so good for Crazy Taxi. It's so perfect for it. You know,
it is. It's spot on.
It's just got that, because you really need something to hold on to when you're doing the sort of like quick gear shift and stuff. Like any other pad would just be annoying. Well, it is annoying if you can try to play it on other consoles.
Well, exactly. I played the PS2 version after I was really used to the Dreamcast version. It's like, nah, this just ain't it. It's like, this ain't happened. I needed the proper triggers on the Dreamcast to do the gear switching and all that stuff.
I missed the boatness. I just have to go back as well. You mentioned about like PlayStation's like the resolution and the sort of borders and all that sort of stuff. It did not get enough of a knock for all its crap that it pulled. You know, Dreamcast was so beautiful with its like high def and its VGA output and its like 60 hertz and all that. Can everyone just retrospectively go back and give PlayStation a kick in, please? Because that thing was taking the piss. Like, it was just...
I know, yeah.
Bloody emotion engine coming out into
well, that's bollocks. The thing. Unfortunately, they did, like, when the Dreamcast was out, they were kind of, you know, doing a little propaganda thing, weren't they? And obviously the DVD thing was like a massive trump card and stuff like that. But they were kind of like implying, like, you know, Dreamcast, like arcade graphics versus what the PS2 is going to be like versus reality and stuff. And it's like, you know what I mean? I mean, they were still pulling those tricks on the PS3 when that was first getting shown off, like, you know, showing video footage instead of real games. And then when the actual games start getting shown, it was a heck of a different scenario. Still remember that Killzone. Was it Killzone 2 demo that I think, no piece of footage or whatever that they got trashed for?
There's only one phrase for them, really: infamous buggers. That's what I'm going to call
Indeed,
them. Yeah. There you go. Anyway, let's not sully the joy of this video with that anymore. You know, hopefully at some point we'll invent a time machine and put right what once went wrong and go and tell the truth about PlayStation 2's shittiness. Anyway, right, it's a great console. I can't knock it, but obviously, like, it's, you know, it's no Dreamcast, whatever. So I think that's us. I've enjoyed doing that. It's good to look back at it. Obviously, literally. We always talk about, would we still play stuff today? Dreamcast is front and center of like what the gaming we still play. So And I'm still, the best thing is, I'm still discovering new titles on it. You know, it's not got the world's.
They're still making new titles.
They're still making new titles. Yeah, it's not got the
That
world's most
GTA 3
amazing
thing as well.
size of library, but it's just got such like depth to it. So yeah, beautiful. Anyway, there you go.
For sure.
Enjoyed, my son. Enjoyed. I don't know why I called you my son. I was going to go for my friend, and I went for my son instead. Felt a bit weird. Let's move on.
That's just you, isn't it? So where are we at? Are you waiting for me?
I'm waiting for you to do the shenanigans. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hang on. Let's just do a brief recap. So in the coming weeks, we've got some Castlevania action, haven't we, coming up? So yeah, that's good. So looking forward to that. And I guess in the meantime, we'll take it easy gaming, guys and girls. So keep it locked here on Gaming for Ages for more retro goodness soon. Laters.